Hey, everybody. As I mentioned, our accounts are being upgraded to Google Premium. So with that, we get some more features. Now, everybody's excited about breakout rooms, but I think the Q&A and polling are going to be really important for you as we continue here in distance learning. So I have a class here set up, and I have three other profiles running, so you'll be able to see the student side and the teacher side. So this is the teacher view. As you can see here, to get to the new features, I'm going to click on this triangle, circle, and square, also known as the activities. And there's my activities. You still have access to your other tabs, everybody that's in the room with your host controls, the chat box. But I think with the Q&A, you actually might want to flip this switch off. So let's take a look at Q&A first. So all you're going to do is turn this on. You have the ability to ask a question as well, but I think it's going to be used mainly for students. So what do the students see? Well, on their page, anytime something new happens in the activities, they're going to get a notification dot. Click it on, and then that dot will also appear where it's taking place, and then they can go ahead and ask a question. Common question, and hit post. Now on the teacher side, you just get a question shows up, who asked it, and there it is. And at first I was like, oh, it's Q&A, just use the chat. But then I realized when you're doing a chat, sometimes that chat moves by fast and you'll miss a question, or you'll get kids that'll ask the same question 3 or 4 times. With the Q&A, we now have this ability. So now we're looking at a second student. They see the question, they have the same one, they can now thumb up it as well. So this ability now, and then now on the teacher side, you'll just see, okay, somebody else wants this asked as well. So this is really good. Now that chat room, you're not really trying to find all the questions at once. They're all in one location. You can delete them, or when you're done and you answer it, you hit the check mark saying, yeah, I answered this. And then on the student side, they see the green check mark and it's been answered. So I really think at first Q&A I wasn't too excited about, but I think it does have a very good place here, a centralized location, and you could keep the chat turned off. The other feature that we could look at now is polling. And at first, once again, I'm like, polling, okay, whoop-de-doo. But I think this is a great tool to be used for a sort of an exit ticket, checking for understanding really quick. I could put a math problem up there and then list all the answers and say, what's the answer? If I'm doing a social studies lesson, I could post a question about branches of government and have different answers there. So there's a lot of potential here to use this as a checking for understanding tool. I'm going to go ahead and just make this a simple one. I'll make this a simple yes or no. And I could add different options and then launch it. Now I can click this on for everybody to see the results as they vote, or I keep it off. If I'm using it for a checking for understanding exit ticket, I'm probably going to keep it off. But let's go ahead and see the student side, and we'll get them all to vote. So go back here. I can see that there's the notification dot. There's something going on in the polls. And I'll just answer real quick, yes. Let's go to the second student. No, it's not. And if I go to the final one, he hasn't turned anything on, so you can see he has a notification for the Q&A still. Well, let's just do the polls. Yes. So they've all voted. And then on your side, you see the votes as they're coming in live. So you would actually see this moving as they're voting. You could end it whenever you want to, and you could delete it. Let's end the poll. And if you want to show the votes now, you could then show the votes. And then on the student side, they would see the votes as they came in. So that's polling. Once again, I think on the surface, it wasn't that exciting, but I think if you use it as a checking for understanding tool, super, super useful. So let's go to the last one here, which is everybody's favorite, is the breakout rooms. So you can go ahead and change the number of rooms here to whatever you want. And it's going to kind of just put people in randomly. And you could shuffle the order if you want to, and it'll shuffle them around. if you want to, you could just take somebody and drag them down. You can go ahead and change the breakout rooms if you want to, the names. So if I want this breakout and then breakout one, whatever you want to. And then when you're good here, you would hit create. So this is now the teacher side. So let's go ahead and look at the student side. As you can see here, I have these icons spinning. And what that means is that the students haven't joined yet. And once they've joined, you'll see that they've actually their icons will appear back. So let's go look. And so the student now gets a pop-up saying, hey, you've got to join this breakout room. I've got to go. It's going to move him in there. It tells him what room he's in. He could also, the other students, we're just going to move them all in there. So all the students are now in their breakout rooms, and they could go back to the main room at any time. And then what do you see as the teacher? You see everybody's in their rooms because they're not spinning anymore. You could join a room if you want to. So let's say I want to go see this one. I could click join, and I'm going to join the room. I could see the other rooms here. And if I want to leave this room and go back, I can just hit leave, and I go back to the main room as the teacher. Now, let's say I said, you know what, notifications, he needs to really go back to the first breakout room. I can go ahead and click edit breakout rooms and take him and just drag him up here, click save. And now if I go to the notifications person, I just got a notification saying, hey, you've got to go back to this new room. And I would join that room, and it's going to move him instantaneously into the other room. So that's nice. And then when you are all done, if you want to end the breakout rooms, there it is, in the breakout rooms. You're going to end it, and let's go see what happens to the students. Breakout rooms are over. Go back, and it puts them back in. Return, and return. So those are the new features that we now have with our premium accounts. A lot more useful than just the breakout room. So I hope that you're going to try the Q&A and try the polling for yourselves. I really do think there's some potential there. Now, the one thing that I really liked about the polling that I forgot to mention that I'll talk about right now, when you're done with the meeting and you end it, you'll get an email probably about 5 minutes later with a summary of everything that took place in your room. So if you had any polling going on, if you had any questions going on, you'll get those in a report, and you'll get a new folder created automatic for you called meeting reports. Now, this is where the attendance will also show up when the attendance feature rolls out. So it'll all show up in one place. You can see I have one of the polls I did earlier. You could see this question here, and I could see who answers it. So this is really nice. If I'm doing now a checking for understanding, I can now see the student and what they answer if they understood the lesson, and it's just a good way to keep everything in place here. And then you could see all the questions that came up the during the lesson as well, and you could also see if you answered it, because if you check that green box, it's going to check this box in the report. So this also comes automatically. You'll get an email, but it'll also show up in your new folder that'll be created called Meeting Reports. So yeah, really, really useful stuff. A lot of exciting stuff going on. If you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. Hope you guys enjoy the new features. Thanks.